Next to it. Oh. Right,
There is still more than $200 in the Queen of Hearts.
Oh, yeah.
pot. So today's the day to buy some tickets.
A drawing every week.
Just a second. You want for eight?
What do you need? 8 cards for $5 or 3 cards for a few, whatever.
And drinks.
Why don't we do window? Put back.
No.
Let's go there for it.
County right here.
Other than-
So,
the Queen of Hearts,
so to finish the story, Kenny is our governor.
Yeah. Good to meet you.
We got about,
Yeah.
we got about 60.
62?
62 from all 5 years.
No.
Where'd you come from?
Check.
Ashland, Richmond. Which street? Which street?
What?
You know Ashland? I grew up there. So I live out in Greenwood Church. I live in Slash, kind of, SK. Okay, so everybody, stopped at 6 this morning, got gas in the line. And it's true. Yeah, I moved out here about 15 years ago. I would use their library a lot, but I went to DCU, but I would use Bacon's library. Greenwood Church, like towards Montpelier more back then. Okay.
I'm gonna go on pause here.
You want to come over one day?
This is a.
Everybody. Welcome to my last Tuesday Rotary show.
Yay!
Let's start with a song under Alan Burns, our songmeister.
All
What
right.
are we singing, Alan?
Well, I'll tell you, in this new holiday season, patriotic, you know, Memorial Day and Flag Day and upcoming 4th of July, I thought it'd be
And
appropriate.
Juneteenth, you don't want to forget Juneteenth.
Banner, number 18.
I wonder if we have a
Now,
song for that.
If you're all familiar, I'm sure, with the history of this, back is out of the War of 1812, that the soldiers at Baltimore's Fort McHenry raised a huge American flag to celebrate a crucial victory on September 14th of 1814. And the sight of those broad stripes and bright stars inspired Francis Scott Key to pen the song. Now, he was not a particularly musically talented guy, so he put it to a separate tune. He did not write the tune. The melody is an old English drinking tune. I think very appropriate, but it became more recently. After that, it became an American drinking tune as well. And so we're singing today to the drinking tune, originally a drinking tune. It took more than 100 years for it to become our national anthem. It was in 1931 that President Herbert Hoover signed a congressional resolution officially making it our national anthem. There are actually 4 verses. And sometimes, on occasion, you might hear more than one verse sung, but it's hard enough to remember sometimes the first verse. According to a poll taken in 2004, not too far back, nearly 2 out of 3 Americans were unable to recall all the words to the Star Spangled Banner. Probably no better than that now. But you've got a grid sheet, page 18, the top there. Star Spangled Banner, and we'll give it our best, okay?
All right.
Okay. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stars and bright stars through the heavens fight over the ground. We watch, we're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets the first king. Still there. Oh, say does that Ready.
Hey.
Now, the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you will, please join in prayer or meditation as you choose. As I say, blessed be your youth and touch in thy service. Amen. Now, I would like normally to say the buffet is open. And in fact, the buffet is stocked with pizza. Pizzas because we're kind of in transition to another purpose. But at any rate, here's the drink, and they're on the way. So I will check on that, and I would like to take instead a moment for the Queen of Hearts story. Has everyone purchased a ticket?
There's not many cards left.
Okay, all right. So, who's got the deck? Ken, do you have the deck? And Paul, do you have the second deck? The Queen of Hearts drawing is a 2-round affair. The first is the first is really to go in a polling of all the people who have tickets to identify the high card. That individual will then be able to draw from a second deck. That's the one that if they get the Queen of Hearts, they get $200.
I have 3 4s.
That
doesn't work.
Now, wait a minute. Jackie, Jackie, what do you have in your purse? All right, John Burgess, come on over here.
May we sit down? May we sit
Oh,
down?
please do.
Gary is looking out for you. Good luck, John.
Draw for over $200
So sad.
if he gets the Queen of Hearts. Where is that in the card? Draw one.
Sorry, John.
Oh,
Oh, no.
that's happy because you didn't win.
No, eliminated from the deck.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And,
How many cards are left?
Are you sure there's a Queen of Hearts in there?
about half the deck.
I'll be back next.
So, and the pot has grown by another $20. So it's there.
All right,
And so it's about 230, something like that.
all right. Welcome to the Powerball Rotary. All right, could we have Happy Dollars? Who's got, whoa. John Curtis, you better be very happy today. All right. Anybody ever detect, before your diploma is evaluated by that much? Thank you, fact, Ken is a terrible driver. He's threatened me every time he sees me running over me. He can't tell because he can't point the car. I need all the votes I can get. I'm not getting really tired. And then today is a special day for West Virginia, right, Katie? You know what the day is? West Virginia Day. It is. Oh, those West Virginia hills, how majestic. There you go.
That's $30.
First of all, I'm so glad to hear that some people in the Burgess family have finally decided to improve themselves. awesome. Nice to see our friend Malcolm here today.
Yeah. There you go, bravo, bravo.
Good friend that our district government.
Yeah.
Hey, Bridget.
I've got $5. Recent happening up in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. A lady I went with for several years. She's recently retired as a nurse. There was a bad motorcycle accident out in front of her house. A 70-year-old gentleman hit a tree branch that had come down, and she actually rushed out of her house and saved his life.
Wow.
Performed CPR until the ambulance got there. So big thumbs up for a lady.
And it speaks to the value of knowing CPR, whether you're a nurse or not. Okay, great. And that was for how many dollars? $5. This is good. Anyway, Bill.
Oh, God.
I have $10 only because Jackie's too cheap to, but last week, I know you didn't miss this, but we were in Toronto
Yes.
and
New Jersey.
no, we were in Toronto.
Very sorry, we missed you,
did
and we
miss
just
you.
wore very funny hats.
Oh, okay. And the story goes on. While we were there, Jackie won $5,000 in the slots. Canadian dollars.
That was what, $3,700?
Yeah, that's 3,700. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How many
$50?
Stick with the 5,000.
Any other happy dollars?
Kenny.
Well, I'll do 20 happy dollars, but I noticed everybody's saying they have happy dollars, but I don't see any
Oh, I
cash
did,
going.
goes for it.
I'll give you my 20. I'll give you 20 American dollars. Just happy to be here, see a lot of good friends, and just the excitement you guys have is just it's warm to be a part of that. So
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I am going to put $10 in because my wife notified me. We are celebrating in the Rich family because this week we finally used up our COVID toilet paper supply.
So that's where it all went.
Sorry.
Wow.
We have, we have some guests, of course. Kenny James, our district governor, and you'll be speaking just like 3 minutes, just a little bit.
You're the boss.
Cool. And Malcolm Hayward, and our speakers, of course, Caroline, Jeff Florney, Caroline Hodgson.
Yes.
Oh, good. Very good. Oh, yeah, those synapses almost burned out there for a moment. But and they're going to be speaking about the improvements to the 911. So I understand that you guys are one of the best funded groups around here. I didn't check what kind of car you were driving. So, do we have any other guests? Oh,
happy dollars.
well, no, well, we're welcome, and we'll welcome our guests.
$50.
Oh, okay.
On account of the fact that my new to me boat just arrived last week. Sea Pro with 115 horsepower in the back. It's 19 years old. And the engine has 152 hours.
Oh,
That's it.
Oh, cream puff.
Tell me it was kept in a garage or something too.
It is now.
And it's
Never went in order.
still got the same sale label on the front. Okay.
Found the lady.
Are you officially starting?
What?
Mail tours?
Okay, so we also have some announcements. Joan?
As you will remember, most of you, next Monday, the 26th, is our Rotary installation dinner at the Coach House 5:30 to 8:30. I have so far 37 people who have signed up, and there are a few people who haven't yet responded, who I think will be there because they are being installed. And I would- I would assume that they were there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they're 38 now.
Okay, 40.
They're
We got
coming
rid of
in.
40. We guaranteed 35, so whether we had 35 or not, we were paying for 35. We now have 40 and we might have a couple more. I need to give the count in after this meeting to Coach House so that they can buy the food for next Monday.
Excellent.
That's the one thing. The other thing is I asked Jim whether or not it would be appropriate for me to bring up a topic to see if the Rotary might be willing to assist the Citizens for Central Park with parking for one of our concerts, one in August, where the DeLoreans are going to be there, and they bring a huge crowd. And I know that everyone is nervous about having maybe 2,000 people, and where they're going to park all around the town, because we don't have parking lots
Right.
out there.
And the answer is Cheriton. That's
That could be.
That's
Then we
next
need a
time.
bus.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
So if you think you might be interested, think about it, and I'm going to double check to make sure, and maybe in the beginning of July, one of our meetings, I will ask for
Oh, yeah,
sure.
please.
We want to clear it with the police department first to make sure that we aren't stepping on each other's toes.
And as a benefit, we'll get you tickets into the concert, by the way.
Absolutely.
What a nice reward. Being on the parking lot.
It's all free.
Oh, okay.
Concert. Thank you.
Very, very good.
All these
right.
inside jokes.
Details to follow. Now, I a little oversight as I was thanking the guests. I wanted to also thank our greeter today, Ken Buddha, and right, this is part of the rotation in getting the new member sticker off of your badge. And speaking of which, we have Paul. Two.
We have two mentees that are graduating.
Yay! Come on up. And I think it's Libby and
This is Chip. It's pending Chip getting his paperwork to me.
right.
We don't need the paperwork. Paul, you're taking the fun out of Rotary.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So this is picture worthy here.
Yeah, picture worthy here.
So Libby is my mentee, and
Protege.
Chip is Bill Payne's mentee.
Protege.
And he managed to finish the list anyway, despite Bill Payne. So they each get a new Rotary pin,
sir.
and they get the new member sticker taken off.
Oh, what a ceremony.
And,
Ken,
okay.
have we received the replacement old codger sticker? No, never mind.
No, we don't have those. So, anyway, I don't know what that sticker is, so.
Okay,
But
so,
yeah.
code red,
All right.
just a little bit, for a photo for the paper.
There we go.
Oh, wow.
Let me see my photos.
Great,
All right.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, let's see here now, last thing is, I've now made 3 trips over to Smalls. And Paul and I are going to go this afternoon, between 3 and 3:30, right, Paul?
Whatever you say.
Yeah, I think to finalize it, there's about a 95% chance that our next meeting on July 11th will be at Smalls. It's a fascinating restaurant. And what they've tried to do is to apply fast food efficiency to high quality smokehouse products. They actually have 2 kitchens and one is just the smoker and, but everyone will order what they want. When you come in,
Ooh.
you'll go to the front, you'll order pretty much what you want. We haven't really gone through the menu. There might be a couple things that would be off limits, a full rack.
A brisket.
That's it, to go.
Want to go. Yeah, but from the looks of it, like 90% of their menu will just be available to you.
So how much is it gonna cost?
Oh, we don't know yet.
Well,
It's gonna be less than $3,700.
So our management will
It's probably,
if we could borrow your credit card, it'll be.
I will say it's almost surely gonna be cheaper than than Bay Creek would have been.
Oh, my Lord.
Sure.
Yeah, for the initial quote. was
$20 a head at Bay Creek
Plus
per
10.
night.
Oh.
Plus
okay, so good.
No, that includes.
That was included 10? Oh, okay. All right.
We're doing 14 here.
So, details to follow. Yeah, we'll
I might be,
watch your email, details to follow.
all right. Good
Good.
job, Jim.
Yes.
That's
So I
all.
have a question. If we're not meeting the next 2 weeks and the third week we meet somewhere else, how will we know for sure
We
that
gotta
that's
read
happening?
emails.
Yep. watch your email.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
look
I
for the
mean,
email.
Yeah.
we will be getting together, we just won't be meeting here.
Yeah.
So, it is news, maybe news, that we are gonna cancel next week's meeting. Of course, Monday, we have the installation dinner, and this meeting would have been the next day. It was kind of touch and go whether what we're gonna do, and with the various.
Plus, we're doing
logistical
crab cakes that
challenges.
Friday.
Yeah, and then the following Friday, we get together to make all the crab cakes. And so it's really just the Tuesday of July 4th that we won't be meeting, and then, or it'll feel like we're not meeting, and then we'll resume. So as I say, watch your email. And again, and Mark Marshall and Chris have been just wonderful, and although they were, kind of tough at the beginning, Mark has said, just look, you guys are great, just meet as long as you need. And it's not, we're not firing because anything that we did or didn't do. And we are more importantly part of it. So anything else?
Just a last word on the crab cakes. Randy reminded me it's Friday week, and I forgot about that, so. We have sold a record 1,710 crab cakes.
Wow.
We have, everybody's satisfied, I think, and if you haven't gotten yours, you'll wait for next year. We need more people. We have 34, I think, signed up, another 3, 4, 5. Ralph, I'll be willing to go to the jail and see if I can get your family members out of that. I told bring your girlfriend, boyfriend, ex-wife, ex-husband, any of them is fine. We'll keep separated.
How many more people do we need?
If we got closer to 40, I'd feel better because we're doing another 100 over last time.
Right.
And, we still have some people who haven't done this before. So
Is
it's not hard.
Is the meat
Yeah.
gonna be frozen or?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. The meat, same guy, same deal,
Perfect.
everything that we've had in the past. So this is the lesson for us when we do Thanksgiving. If you want your crab cakes to be purchased or want to sell them to your friends, order early. So we've had just a tremendous response this year, and we've really sold out for all intents and purposes in about 7 or 8 days. So never happened.
Bravo.
So I see all of you, hopefully, the ones that go to choose, he's having eye surgery to avoid not coming, so that's a good thing. We have others, but seriously, we need help, always need help, and it goes fast, we'll be done in 2 or 3 hours, and we might move the time. When we get the number of people we're talking about, we said 1 o'clock, we usually get done around noon or 12:30, but we also save mine and Bill's to the last because we know we're gonna be there, so what happens is we say we're gonna be done at 12, about 11:30, people start showing up and they want the 2 crab cakes that Jackie sold. And won't make them. So that's for now, if you want to talk, they'll be done with your customers, and we need help, okay, thank you.
Good job, John.
Thank you all.
Best manager in the club.
That's what runs through our program. I Stan Plowden has assured me that he would be here 10 minutes ago. So,
Let's eat anyway.
but I'm gonna head next door and get some water. The buffet is open. We have 3 different kinds of pizzas and good and yes, good. And they are buying the cheese and sausage and onion and vegetarian. And Stan has all the plates.
With a lot of napkins.
Wait a minute. Yes, we got lots of napkins. And if you really want, you can use something solid. All right, with that,
Carol, you're first.
Yes, thank you for doing your best. And yes, with that, guess first. Aren't you excited? And I'm gonna go get some water. Thank you, folks.
I have some.
Program. Happy note, Malcolm Hayward is interested in joining. So, welcome, and all you have to do is attend 3 times. You're automatically, no, it's
On one foot.
But I would like to start the program and turn the floor over to Kenny James, our district governor, for another
We can have.
14 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Compliment before the end of the Rotary year end, because, numbers count. But, he was worried about if he was gonna be accepted in a club or not. I said, look around the room. Do you really think they have standards that they follow? They pretty much take anybody, right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They can write a check. Well, evidently you don't even have to write a check. You just say, I'm gonna give you money and they take it. So I'm still confused about that. And if whether it's gonna be Canadian dollars or Confederate money. No, I really had to show up because Katie attended Rotary Leadership Institute and I was concerned about y'all's club. So I was like, if this is what's coming out of the club, I need to make a visit as soon as possible. The counselor and I worked through it, I'll probably be making a call to him afterwards, tell him how the club visit went, so. But no, in all seriousness, it's just great to be here with you guys. Sorry it's taken me, towards the end of the year, but it's been a busy year. A lot of visits, a lot of stuff going on. Did have the opportunity to have a bunch of, how many came to the tribe area meeting that we had at the beginning of the year? Yeah, so saw a number of you there. When the 3 clubs got together and had that. But I made up my mind that I wanted to make sure I came back to each of the clubs individually because it's important, I think, that the district shows that we are here to support you guys. Each individual club, not just a group of clubs. Regardless of the travel that it takes. So for me, that's what I want to make sure that y'all understood today. The district has your back. We're here to support you for another 12 days. After that, I don't know what happens. I'll have the district, but I don't care. I'm going to retire. No, seriously, we are here. We have a great, just like what you have. I look over at Mark and I still worry about your club, to be honest. But anyway, our district leadership, we're in close contact with each other. We actually have a lunch on Wednesday, the district leadership team. So we keep in constant continuity as well. So I have no doubt that when Rudy comes in, District 7600 is going to do a tremendous job. And then if you haven't heard, we have Joy Klein after her and then Pat Edwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Pat Edwards from Virginia Town Center or Virginia. Yeah. But anyway, to me, what I wanted to tell you, to be honest today, is I think we've had a great year. Y'all had a great year as a club. It's good to keep in contact for what y'all are doing, the impact you're having. Sounds like we're going to do a ride later to go through the town. I'm still open to a golf cart, weather allows, but it's up to you, whatever you want to do. Be able to just go around and see what the clubs are doing. I will say this this is a personal note, a personal wish. Mark, this is for you because Jim's year's over. Thankfully.
Have I said that enough lately? I understand why y'all get kicked out of the same location. 12 locations in 3 months. But one thing I wish you guys would do, and this is up to you, and this is one thing that I've said and we've talked about on district level. District never comes in and forces you to do anything as a club. The club is yours to lead. Did we not say that over and over again? It is your club to lead. You know the community better than we do. But one thing that I see across the district is you're not telling your story enough to the district and to others. Okay? Y'all are doing a tremendous job in the community, and I'm saying this because July 15th, we have the awards and change of leadership celebration on district level. Because you're not submitting awards, you're not submitting stuff to be recognized, everybody else in the district doesn't know the good you're doing. Now, I say that because a lot of clubs will come back and say, we don't care. Okay? We're doing our good and that's all we want to do. And I'm okay with that in a way. But what you're doing is you're not allowing the other clubs in the district, be proud of what you're doing. So Mark, I'm saying to you, what I suggested to the presidents, come into your year, find out what the awards are and put somebody else in charge of the awards. You run a club, let somebody in your club submit the awards on your behalf, with your blessing. Because we need to know on a district level. I don't want to brag about you guys on the district level, but it's hard when you don't submit the awards to show what everybody else is doing. Okay, that's just a personal act of mine. Other than that, guys, it's been a tremendous year. You guys have done a tremendous job. I know that I try to share that, but again, when you don't submit the awards, it's hard to give awards to clubs that haven't submitted anything. So that's something for you guys to dwell on. You decide as a club what you want to do, but that's my suggestion. Okay, my year was to live in the dash year. How many of y'all heard the dash?
I was at the meeting.
You went to me.
I was with him.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's still trying to get over it. So the dash, if you go into the cemetery and you see on the headstone, what do you see?
Dash.
You see the person's name, the day they're born and the day they die, right? You see that dash in between. Well, there's a poem about the dash. Linda Ellis wrote that, and she actually attended our district conference, and her and I have been corresponding since. But that dash, don't you often wonder the life that somebody lived? The impact that they've made. And it goes back to what I'm talking about with y'all's awards. Just like that, if you don't tell your story, if you don't share your dash, we're not going to know. Okay? But on another note, what I'm trying to say is with the year that we had, continue living your dash. To me, the dash is living the life of service for others that Rotary gives us the opportunity as an organization to do. Throughout this is our year that we've had together as a dash, but think about your Rotary life that you will have together. What I want you to do is be proud of what you've done. You have a fun club, you've done a lot, but I want you, after your Rotary career, to look back and think about the impact you've had on others. Because one thing I've said throughout the district, you take Rotary out of the community, how many homes wouldn't have been built, bridges, playgrounds, if Rotary wasn't around? And that's one good thing about Rotary. How many bridges are built that we'll never walk across? Homes built will never live in, trees planted will never sit under, children immunized it will never hold. That's the power of Rotary. So your club, even though it's here, has the impact in the community, but has an impact around the world as well. So for me, on the bottom of my heart, I'm glad I got to spend time with you. Yeah, you're a fun group. But for me, I want you to know it's been a privilege and an honor serving you this year. So thank you for your friendships over the years, and I look forward to more opportunities with you guys in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, it looks like the weather is going to cooperate, and we will have at least one golf cart and a car. And the point of this little tour is to show off 3 of our service projects this year: the painting of the caboose, the recycle bench that the Christian school won as a result of their recycling challenge, and the Invisible History Tour.
So there was Youth Garden as well. We support them.
Well, we
You go
do,
right past it.
we do,
It's got our Rotary emblem.
Yep. right, and you'll be riding on the road that we clean, you know. It goes on, it goes on. So, at this point, I'd like to turn the program over to Jeff and Caroline, who are going to tell us about the new 911 system or
Just talk about
something.
911 in general.
Yeah, in
Good.
general,
Right?
that was
Bravo.
the deal.
Bravo, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you all for inviting. I'll start just by saying who we are and then let Caroline do most of the talking. I don't know most of you in here, but I know Katie pretty well, and she knows I can be long-winded and talk a lot. I won't do that. I won't do that to you because you know how that can go. But my name is Jeff Flournoy. I'm the 911 director here on the Eastern Shore. I've been in the position about 15 years, relocating here from the Richmond area in Hanover County. And I'll let you introduce yourself and your time.
My name is Caroline. I'm a 911 supervisor, so Jeff is one of my bosses. And I have been at the 911 center for just over 11 years now, going on 11 and a half. I've been in management for about 4.5 years. So our journey.
The way the 911 center is organized on the Eastern Shores is somewhat unique. There's probably a handful of others in the state where there's a regional effort together, and it was way before my time. In other words, most counties and cities have their own 911 center, but on the Eastern Shore, 2 counties got together and made a decision it'd be better to have one regional 911 center to serve both counties from the Maryland line down to Fisherman's Island and Tangier, which is a good thing. So all the 911 calls come to us. The law enforcement part's a little bit segregated. The sheriff's offices have their own police dispatcher, but all the 911 calls, as well as all dispatching of fire trucks and ambulances, they come from the regional 911 center located up in Accomack. It's a little bit different regional operation.
Jeff stole some of my information. I was going to share. But as he said, we are the only 911 center on the Eastern Shore of Virginia. So we do serve all 911 calls that are received from the Maryland Virginia line all the way down to the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. We also mentioned we service fire and EMS and law enforcement calls we receive, but generally we transfer out to Accomack or Northampton County Sheriff's Office. They respectively have their own sheriff's department with their own dispatchers. And the town of Shankatig also has their own police station. But ultimately, you dial 911 anywhere on the Eastern Shore and surrounding waters, you should reach our 911 center and we'll direct your call as needed. We serve Accomack and Northampton. As Jeff mentioned, it's kind of unique here on the shore. Most places are consolidated where you call 911, and if you need fire, police, or EMS, everybody's generally in the same building. That's not the case here. But either way, folks get served the way that they need to. And that's the important thing. Excuse me. Overall, just a little bit of information about our area if you don't know. With the whole Eastern Shore, we have 21 fire EMS stations. So there's lots of folks out there that service quite a spread of jurisdiction or cover a widespread area. And they're a mixture of career personnel and volunteers. Over the years, the volunteer system has kind of diminished, but they're still out there. Jeff is still a volunteer firefighter EMT with Exmoor. You might see him if you live in that area. So just about our 911 center hierarchy, we have 5 managers. So Jeff is ultimately the director. We have a deputy 911 director, Krista Kilman, and then there's 3 in my position. We have 3 supervisors. At the moment, we have 10 full-time, about 3, 4 part-time employees. So we are very small compared to larger places, Virginia Beach, they have hundreds of employees, and we're very small. But we get the job done nonetheless. Statistically, last year, 2022, we had just over 40,000 calls that were received. Of those, though, 9,000-ish were EMS calls and about 4,000 were fire calls. So you kind of do the math there. Most of them were either administrative calls or they were law enforcement calls that were transferred elsewhere. But from our services combined, we did, about 13,000 calls for service between fire and EMS last year. Just some general things. I don't know if anybody here has ever had to call 911, whether here on the shore or in your travels or past places of living. But generally, when you call 911, it's usually because something bad has happened. Nobody calls, well, I can't say nobody calls, but generally it's not a happy situation. We do get those people that get 911 and 411 mixed up. They'll call and what's the number to Pizza Hut or, you know, things like that. We direct those calls accordingly. But generally it's not a happy time. It's either something personal for you or a family member, or you're driving on the street, maybe you come up on a vehicle accident or you see a house on fire. It's usually not a happy time. But some information, just so you know, if you ever have to call 911 and you have a bad encounter that needs some assistance, the first thing you want to do is stay calm. It's usually high emotional type things, and if everybody's adrenaline kicks in, but try to stay calm the best you can. Number two, you want to stay safe. I think generally, and from what Jeff and I have learned, a little bit we've been at the table, the background of your club is you like to help people and serve people, and I think generally that's human nature. So when you do come up on something or you see somebody in need, your first instinct is to go up and help them. And that's fine as long as you stay safe yourself, because of course you can't help others if you put yourself in a potential unsafe situation. Excuse me. The third thing is you would want to answer questions from the call taker. We have a lot of questions we have to ask. And of course, in those situations, you want to just call, report the situation, and expect us to send help, which we will. But all the questions we ask are relevant and we just pass on to the responders. So it's important to stay on the phone, answer the questions we ask, and there's 4 main important questions. And the first one will always be where. We need to know where we need to send the help. And it's okay if you don't know, if you're not from here. We'll ask you, you know, what did you see? Do you see a cross street? Do you see a place of business? Things that can help us out. And even if you don't know, we have really good mapping services, several mapping services, so we can ping your cell phone if you're calling from a cell phone. It's not 100%. Most of the time, it's generally spot on, or it puts a very good circumference, I would say, aerial circumference to where you are, and we'll know where to send the help to. The second thing, we need to know what's happening. So we've got the where, but what's going on. Knowing the what is what helps us determine which resources we're going to send. And then, of course, we're going to get your name and your phone number, just so that we know who we're speaking to, and if the phone number is important in case the phone call gets dropped, or if we need to call you back. And then there's other questions that follow through according to the nature of the call, but they're the 4 most important: the where, the what, and then your information, who you are, and your phone number. Other than that, I just wanted to touch on, and I have a couple of, it's one handout, I hope I have enough copies, but I wanted to talk about Smart 911. Has anybody heard about that? Was that a thing when you were still up? Okay, so you.
It was next gen.
Yeah, next gen, yep. So we have come in further since then, but, so Smart 911, it's an application, or it's a website, or it can be a phone application. It is 100% free. You can download it on your phone or go to the website, and I have some handouts that I will give to you. Basically, you can go on this website or the application and put in any information you would want a 911 dispatcher to know in case you were in a position where you couldn't talk. Say, for example, you have asthma and you're having an asthma attack, and you have a Smart 911 profile. You call 911 and you just can't talk because you have an asthma attack. Your profile would populate on our computer screens, and it will show us your name and your address if you have shared all this information. You know, they have history of asthma, and it's just a useful tool, and there's countless ways that your profile can help you. You can also input information if you have a spouse or children, pets in your home. You can put up pictures. My profile shows a picture of my animals, just in case responders have to go to your residence and you have dogs. They know where they're located, they know what they look like. You can also put in preferred locations, like if you would want to go to Norfolk Centera as your place of choice, doesn't mean that's where you may go, but at least the responders know this is where they would prefer to go. You can put in information about your gas tanks if you have like Sharp Energy, you know, things like that, where they're located. A spare key information, you can put that in your profile. There's all kinds of things that you can put in there that would be visible only to 911 dispatchers if you call. Like, we can't just go and search to be nosy, not that we would, but just making that known, you know, it is 100% confidential. And another key thing about, excuse me, Smart 911 is it travels with you. So if you call 911, if you go to California and you call 911 on your cell phone in California, if that jurisdiction of that 911 center has Smart 911 implemented in their center, your profile will populate there. So it travels with you. Does that make sense? Which I think is very useful. So again, I'm on a time limit, but I have some flyers that I will share with you all. I would also like to take a minute to talk about citizen input. That is the next generation or the most recent next gen that we have implemented in our center. So citizen input, you call 911 and you have good service and you have a more recent cell phone, like it won't work on a flip phone. But I'm not sure too many people that have those. But say you come up on an accident scene and you're willing and able and safely able to do so, we can send you via text a link that you can click on, and you have to give a code, excuse me, and then we will have access to your camera. So you can take your phone when you click on this link and authorize it, and you can show us. It comes through our computer screen. And then we have the option to share that image or that video or that live stream to the first responders. So it provides situational awareness all the way around.
So it's no longer just calling and
Yes.
talking, which is still key, but it's also seeing to get better awareness of what's going on, so the right help can get to whatever kind of incident it is.
And it's a safety thing too. It's not like if you, I'm still driving and I pass it, we're not gonna ask you to, well, can you hold your phone up while you're driving? You know, it's all safety measured. And the dispatchers, that's an important thing too, is we don't have to look at it. You know, mental health is a big deal, and we have to protect our folks too. So we do not make our folks use it. But if you choose to send a picture, we don't have to view it. We can just send it right to the responders.
I could have used that yesterday. An accident happened right in front of me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And it's quick. It's very quick. You don't have to download anything on your phone. It just gives us access to your phone's camera.
That's great.
So as beautifully as the system seems to be working, are we to assume that Elaine Warrior's large grant then is not needed and you'll be sending it back?
Time for me to talk.
Yes.
Everything we've been talking about up until now, Caroline's been talking about, is 911, dialing it, coming to the dispatch center to get you help, right? There's a whole nother piece to emergency services, the radio system that police, sheriffs, fire, and EMS use. So once we get the call, we know there's a fire, we know there's law enforcement needed or ambulance. That's great, but we have to get that call out to them. And the radio system, you think about a police officer with the radio or a fire chief, that's what we're talking about. And we have a very large radio system that covers on these towers that you see driving up and down. We use those towers to dispatch, to broadcast these calls up and down the shore to cover 75 miles of skinny territory, but 75 miles of a long area. So that's what former Representative Lawyer's $8.2 million is coming to both counties to fund about 85 to 90% of that project cost. So today, the radio systems that we use are they're underperforming, they're poor. When I say poor, a deputy may not be able to talk on his radio and talk to his dispatcher. A fire chief might not be able to talk on his radio and talk to his guys or gals, firefighters inside fighting fire. An ambulance crew's inside working on somebody, trying to call for more help. The radio system, just the coverage is not there so that you can have good, reliable communications. As Caroline mentioned earlier, we still rely predominantly in Northampton County 100% on volunteers for fire, but it's a career system, but we rely on volunteers, fire and EMS in both counties. So that means the radio system's got to work inside of people's homes. That literally, again, I'm a volunteer firefighter too. A pager sits by my bed
at night, and if there's a fire that comes in, our radio system sends a signal to it, beep, 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 wakes me up. Say it's down here, station 15, respond for an accident on Mason Avenue, or whatever it is. That's what our radio system does, and that's what's not performing well today. It's antiquated, it's older, it's so this new system will be it'll be a digital system. It's going to be built for public safety. It's going to be built for coverage. There was no system's 100% everywhere, but it's going to be built to give us the coverage we need in both counties, including Allen, including Chincoteague, Tangier, and even going down the Bay Bridge Tunnel our ways. That's what those funds are going towards, is all the pieces to build that, and it's going to be used by all the public safety agencies and even the Northampton County Public School System. The Northampton Public Schools need radios for the buses, so they're going to join and be part of that system. So it's going to be a new system using that federal money and some local money. There's some local money going into it also, but that federal money is covering a big chunk of it that we were able to get through our Congress a few years ago.
What's the schedule for implementing it?
We hope to be using it by December of 2024. So about a year and a half from now, we hope to be using this. It's been a kind of a long process. You're evaluating your system, where you at, writing your bids for it, selecting the folks that are going to build it, signing contracts, and then now building and designing the system. But that's exactly how it's
And where are you now? Where are we now in the process of getting it in?
So we've signed the contract with the firm or the vendor that's going to build the system. We know what sites we're going to use, the 5 tower sites that we're going to use. There's another contract it's how the sites are connected together. We're almost done with that piece, probably next month. That'll be the last major contract. Literally tomorrow, we have something called detailed design review, where a bunch of people are going to be over here looking at finalizing plans. Exactly where is this radio going to go at this tower site? At the Northampton Sheriff's Office, where is this computer going to go? Just finalizing all the details, just so we have that correct. And then there's going to be other stuff later on the actual building, putting the antennas on the towers. I mean, all that's going to come as we go through the next year. The issue of new radios, the training on the new radios, testing the coverage to make sure that it works like it needs to work. I mean, it's all going to be a process. It's literally another full-time job for me right now, but I'm not complaining, because it's a very big, it's a lot of effort and time devoted to this. But we really hope that, I hope that if we talk a year and a half from now, when we're using the system, then we can go, yeah, this is pretty good. Things are working much better for our public safety. And ultimately, it helps the public. If it helps the public safety, it helps the public by making sure they get the right help and the communications that are needed. So that's where that federal money we're talking about, that's the radio system part for the whole shore, yes.
You mentioned that it's connected to the sheriff's department. I assume the state police. What about the local town departments, police departments?
Absolutely. They are also part of the system. So yeah, all the town police departments, the sheriff's departments, we're all going to be on the same system so they can talk together. State police is a little different. They have their own system. So we have to work on it's called interoperability. How can we join them together? So if a trooper needs to talk to a deputy, and that's part of what we're working on building it, is to build it so that can work, but they're not going to be on our system. But all the, just talking around Cape Charles, Eastville, Exmoor, those departments will all be on the same system, just like everybody else. Yeah.
And the follow-up, I know that there are a number of apps on smartphones for 911 where you can monitor 911 calls and you can monitor EMS traffic. And you can't do it here that I know of on the Eastern Shore. Will that be something that can happen once this is implemented?
When you say, you're not talking about 911 calls, like the public call now, when you're talking about like listening to a dispatch.
Yes,
fire call,
yes, that type of thing.
You can do that today. There are apps today that you can put on your phone to listen to fire calls being dispatched in Accomack and Northampton. And in the future, I feel confident that will exist too. What will change though, and this will be something you have to advertise to the communities of this, some people have scanners in their homes still where you program frequencies. This is a whole different frequency band. I mean, it's going to be different scanners. It's going to be harder to monitor on scanners. So things will change. But I feel like there will be opportunity where there'll be interfaces between the system and apps to allow some monitoring. But today you can do it. Future, we're hoping it works. We just have to plan for that. Yeah.
A couple questions. I think you got the water type emergencies. Do you handle those 911 calls, for example, a boat sinking out on the bay or a heart attack, person having a heart attack off the coast of Virginia?
Yes, those calls come to us, and they are some of the most complicated calls.
Yeah.
The reason is obviously you have the emergency going on, But there's a lot of different agencies that get involved, so it's literally calling the Coast Guard, calling the Virginia Game and Fisheries, the MRC. The sheriff's offices have boats, fire and EMS, and sometimes air assets like helicopters. So it's a lot of phone calls, a lot of coordination. But yeah, we get those calls and they're a challenge.
Okay, and then one other question. I do a lot of biking and on my GPS, there's a function on there for, I think it says auto accident detection or something. I had that turned on. Does that somehow contact 911 if I get hit by a car or something?
If you have that turned on, I would say yes. And I say that confidently because several times a day, we get calls like that, but they're accidental activations.
Okay.
We've had a lot of people that are out cutting grass
Okay.
or riding a motorcycle and anything like with a vibration.
Yeah.
We had one not too long ago, a mother called, she said, I'm so sorry, my kid dropped my phone. Well, because the phone drops,
Yeah.
it detected it. A lot of times, or more commonly now is, I guess since the last iPhone or Apple update, there has been a crash detection, like it's an automated thing that will call, kind of like an OnStar service. And it will tell us, auto crash detected from iPhone user. And that's very complicated.
Okay, well,
Because of course we might not know where they are, but we still treat it as if it is an accident, and I know
Yeah.
that's.
And it gives us a longitude and latitude.
It does.
That we can plot into.
maybe you gotta work for me then when I hit that bump in the road.
But generally our policy is if, like, say you called 911, whether it's accident, we will call you back and just
Yeah.
verify that you're okay and that you don't need
Yeah,
help.
okay.
Yes, ma'am,
Look. Why do you need radios? Why can't you use cell phones?
We will not, with public safety, relying on cell phones. The cell phones work most of the time. The cell towers go down, so sometimes they don't work. There are some areas where we have poor cell coverage. If I go into Jamesville, I go into Walkley Shores, and my cell phones are poor. So so cell phone is good, but public safety wants to rely on its own network, its own coverage, instead of depending on cellular networks. There's some areas where they don't build out coverage, and that's not acceptable. So and it's funny you bring it up. These radios can operate off the cellular network. They can operate off Wi-Fi. It's new technology, but fundamentally, we want a radio system that we manage that's air to allow, not other people. Make sense? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that auto detect, I know it works because my smartwatch is a little smarter than me. The other night, I was trying to turn it off when I went to bed without having my glasses on, which was mistake number 2. Somehow I accidentally called 911.
Whoa.
And I didn't realize a couple of minutes later, I get a call, I said, hey, do you really need emergency service? It doesn't work, I know.
That is a very good point, and actually that's something that we just did an in-service training on with our staff is we kind of did, because we get a lot of these calls, some are true, but sometimes they're accidents. People, the first thing they say is 911. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to call you. I don't know how my phone did that, or I don't know how my watch did that. So we kind of reached out and did some research between the different cell phones to see what is it on a phone, which most people have iPhones and then it's Android, right? So on iPhones, when you try to turn your phone off, you have to, squeeze the sides, and then it's options. The first one is you can slide it off, and then there's like an SOS emergency button. And that happens. And then if you try to turn the volume up and you click too many times, I think it's like 5 times, your phone will automatically dial as well. So, or your watch.
All right, thank you very much. This is a complicated explanation. We made a $500 contribution to the Literacy Council, and our intent all year has been to put the names of our speakers on a little sticker here. However, even better, we're going to put your names in a little ad in the Eastern Shore Post with an appropriate thank you, and much appreciate your. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Rotary Pledge. Please stand. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And stand.
Will we have fun?
Go in service.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you again for making the trip.